right, so we're almost done with deer season. It's end of November. Around here, December, January, nobody really hunts, so it's basically wrapping up. Though I'll go out a few more times, but after having a season under my belt with these two bikes, I wanted to kind of tell you my feelings about them and my thoughts about them and pros and cons, and realistically, I don't need two bikes, so one of them is going to be hitting the Facebook Marketplace, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. So we're looking at the Rambo Crusader. It's not the 2.0, but very similar, I guess. I think the battery improvement was kind of the big thing when it came to the 2.0. Rambo Crusader, 2 hub motors. So it's got one motor here, one motor here. They're both 500 watts. So in essence, it's a 500 watt two-wheel drive bike. This is the Quietkat Apex Sport. Very similar to the Apex Pro. It is a mid-drive, so the motor's here, and it is a 1,000 watt motor. So, Cat, you're driving me crazy. Hush. So, this isn't really, don't think of this so much as Quietkat versus Rambo, because they both make good bikes. There's pros and cons to each model, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But more of a mid-drive versus hub drive, and you can make your own decision based off that. These two bikes are relatively the same price if you were looking at them. If you order off their website, Quietkat will charge you taxes. Rambo will not. So keep that in mind when you're looking at prices. You might look at it and go, well, Quietcat's cheaper, but when you put it in the checkout and go to checkout, you're going to have another $400 or $500 charge on there from the taxes. And Rambo doesn't do that at the moment. So let's talk first about the Crusader. I really like the Crusader. There are, of course, some pros and cons, but let's get into the Crusader. First and foremost, mud flaps. They're relatively cheap, 30 bucks. These are easy to put on. Like, that's a real simple, easy thing. This one just clips on right there. You can see I only clipped the top two on. Negative could be if you leave these on, like I have, you will lose them driving down the road. This will fly off and it'll be gone. So you have to take it on and off every single time. The battery on this one is on top. On the 2.0, it might be on the bottom. Don't really know for sure, just something to think about. The hub drive motors, even though these are only 500 watts, I really like the hub drive style because there is no derailleur. This chain, it's got a little slack in it. It's just a chain connected to pedals. That's all it is. There's a sprocket here, and go. That's all there is to it. I love the simplicity of it. I actually hunted with this bike last night. I got lost basically, and coming out, I was going through this grown-up field of briars and thickets that was over my head. Luckily, I had Onyx, and I was able just to kind of look on the map and just walk in a direction until I finally found the trail I was looking for to get out of there. So if that was a derailleur on this, I would have easily ripped the derailleur off. A couple days ago, I actually was out hunting, and a big stick got wedged up in here, and it knocked the chain off of the front sprocket. So out in the middle of the woods, way back, miles back away from the truck, and this chain comes off this front sprocket. So got the stick out, I got it started on here, and then I just kind of pedaled it with my hand and made the chain wrap back on there, and I was back up and running again, no problem. Nothing broke, able to keep going. That's a different story than the mid-drive systems that this particular Quietkat Apex has. So sticking with the Rambo though, very simple. You've got 1 to 5, you hit the up button, it's gonna go, no problem. You can pedal assist or you can hit the throttle, either way, and it goes immediately, and it's really responsive. I like everything about it. The tires that come on this particular Rambo have been great. I've had no flats on this tire, and I've drove through some thorns and briars and everything else. This is a tank. Not gonna have a ton of power, but it is a great bike. Let's talk negatives. One negative, and this could be just me, but my rear brake is very squeaky and very hard to tune. So right now, like, I have no rear brake. I'm having to use my front brake only, which is not great, especially when you hunt the mountains. So I'm gonna have to tweak this and try to tune this, and I just haven't had time to set up the shop and build a fire and really go through it. So that's on my list of things I've got to tweak and fix. It could just be me having issues with that. I don't know. These are not great for climbing hills, especially long hills. These motors will overheat, and if they overheat, the motor controller will go out. To give you an example of that, this is a Quietkat Pioneer 750. This thing has like 0 miles on it. The first time out, this is a 750 hub motor back here. The first time out, it's not a Bafang, so it's a cheaper hub motor. First time out, it overheated. This motor controller has to be replaced. Quietkat sent the wrong one, so they sent a 500 watt, not a 750 watt, so the plugs don't match up. So having to get that, a new one fixed, and I mean, literally it's brand new, 0 miles on it, and we're having to fix it. So when you're dealing with hub motors, there is always the potential of them overheating, especially in mountains. So another thing about the Rambo that I would change or fix or improve is this rear rack system. So you got to buy this separate, and it does attach strong. It's got some little bolt-in attachment points, and it is on there sturdy. It's good. The only negative I have is, well, A, you got to buy it separate, whereas Quietkat comes with a rear rack. But the only negative other than that is this part here sticks up, so it forces your seat to be raised up. Okay, I'm not a super tall guy, 5'11", maybe 6 foot on a good day. It can be hard, especially when you got bibs and backpacks and bows and all this stuff on you, to get up on this, if that makes sense. Whereas the rack and the basket and everything for the Quietkat does not affect your seat. So this is allowed to be down lower. Just got to get my leg up over this. But this seat can be a lot lower, and it's more adjustable to your height because it doesn't go up under the seat like the Rambo does. So what you get into is this seat comes in just a little over 35 inches to the bottom of the seat, okay? Looking at the Quietkat over here, this one's, of course, adjustable. Right now it's at 34, and I could lower this down if I wanted to all the way down here. I still got to get my leg over this, but so this is an inch lower. This one seems to fit a little better. Looking at this one over here, which is all the way down, this is a Pioneer 750 that's not running. It's at 30.5 inches right now. So you get to adjust your seat better on the Quietkats because the rack does not go up under the seat. Seems, I mean, I don't really know what this serves. I don't know why you got to have it. I mean, maybe you could cut it off. I don't know. And then I could lower my seat down. Maybe something I do in the future. But for now, that's a negative. Other than that, not being able to climb hills and the fact that the seat has to be up high, Rambo's been a great bike. I would buy another one in a heartbeat. Quietkat. Let's talk Quietkat Apex. Nothing against Quietkat because it's just their particular. You know, the model I bought was a mid-drive because I did want to climb, I did want to climb a mountain with it, so I got the mid-drive 1000 watt. And it will climb. It has got the torque and the power that the Crusader does not have. It's got a lot more power and speed. I've had it over 30 miles per hour on the road, just running it. So it's like a jet fighter when you're up and running. Tire wise, I have had multiple flats on these Juggernauts, so I've had to order tubes. They just seem like they're thin. I've not had good luck with these Kenda Juggernaut tires. I probably wouldn't recommend them, and it may have just been a fluke, but I've had issues with them ever since the first trip. So this is the deal, and why the Quietkat, the Apex, the mid-drive, whatever you want to call this, is getting the axe, why I'm going to sell it. While it is more powerful, it's got the ability, in Arkansas, you can't be on public lands with a bigger than 750 watt motor. It has the technology here that allows you to lower the wattage just from here and turn your throttle off from here, and you're legal on WMA, even though you've got a 1000 watt motor, which is really cool. That's an awesome feature. Again, I love the seat, the way the seat configuration is with the basket. I think that's really cool. But this is the problem. It has nothing to do with Quietkat. It has everything to do with just multi-speed bikes in general. So you're gonna have to go away. Now go on, go on. This is a derailer, or derailleur, I guess, if you're Sounds a little French, but derailleur. And basically, this is what allows you to change gears. And 99% of the time, you just want to be in first gear. I can go 20 miles per hour, 19 in first gear on this with a 1,000 watt unlimited motor. So I don't really need second, third, fourth, fifth, but you need the derailleur. That's what keeps the chain tight as you're changing gears. So I think I've got 20 miles on this bike. I've gone through 3 of these. This is the 4th one. I guess I've gone through 4, but I broke 3 derailleurs. What happens is little sticks as you're going are getting kicked up from the front tire or kicked up from the back tire, and they get wedged in here, or they get wedged in here, or, you know, anywhere in here. Any one of these mechanisms allows them to get wedged in, and this whole thing breaks right here at this point right here. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to be the weak point so that it doesn't break the frame. Makes sense. However, they're really weak. So unless you're hunting on a golf course, you're gonna have issues with this. It's always gonna be a problem. And every time you put one on, this gets a little more frayed, and you have to tune it. So you have to try to figure out, like right now, even though I'm in first gear, it wants to be in third gear. So I've got to adjust this tension so that it'll stay over in first gear. And to do that, you've got to adjust this cable. You've got adjustments up on the handlebars. It's just a whole ordeal, and it's really been a pain in the butt. The 3rd time that this broke, it actually stripped the threads out of this derailleur hanger and bent this derailleur a little bit. So I had to call Quietkat and have a new one of these shipped out. And Quietkat was very cool about that. They shipped me a new one, no charge, and I do appreciate that. So once I got that put on, got this put on, chain links were an issue. I somehow lost one of the quick links in the chain. Had to get a new one of those. That was kind of an ordeal, but it's just been a pain in the butt that I don't have time. Like, it's been broke down for a month. So a week and a half maybe waiting on this to come in, a week waiting on the chain link to come in. It was the wrong chain link, and the customer service sent me another one, had to wait another week on it, finally get it in, get it installed, get this thing attached. It's been a whole ordeal. So it's finally up and running, but it won't stay in first gear. So now I've got to spend some time riding it and adjusting this tensioner here to where it'll just stay in first gear, and that doesn't even include trying to fine tune it to where I can switch it to second and third and so on and so forth. So it's been an ordeal with this Apex derailleur. Now, if you've got a bike shop around and you just want to take it to them, obviously that would be the easier method, to just take it to a bike shop. So I don't have a bike shop around, nor do I want to spend the money on a bike shop. So I'm going to hopefully just be able to get this fixed myself and be up and running. One option would be to make this a single speed, and I looked into that. Basically, you buy one sprocket and some spacers and they go on here and they line up with your front one, and it's probably equivalent to third gear, and just stays in third gear the whole time, which would still be probably more power than the Rambo Crusader with the 2 500-watt hub drives. The problem is you have to have the little chain tensioner mechanism, and it's similar to this, just not as it's similar to this derailleur here, but it's just not as big. It's more like right out here, which I still worry about sticks and stuff getting up and hitting this and breaking it. Again, where I was hunting last night, all those briars and stuff would have been up in there, wedged up in there, and breaking all this off. It would have been a major headache. So I was really happy I took the Rambo last night and not this bike. So that's my biggest issue, my biggest complaint. If this had a 1,000-watt hub motor in the back and all of this was gone, I would probably stick with the Quietkat, just because I really like the ability to lower the seat down to my exact height. I like that it comes with a welded-on rear rack. So, I mean, there are those positives. The battery gets better life than the Crusader. That Crusader has an upgraded battery, and I think it advertises 35, whereas this Apex is more like 40 something. So better battery here, even with a 1,000-watt motor, but when you're pumping 2 motors with 1 battery, it's going to be tough. But the Crusader's been a workhorse. I have no complaints about the Crusader. It's done a good job. I may look at just cutting these off, putting a little Dremel on there so I can lower this seat on down a little lower. I don't even run the rack back here, so really I just need this to have the hitch to the trailer and have my saddlebags on it, which are really nice as well. Both Rambo and Quietkat have good saddlebags. But if you're going to hunt public land, if you're going to hunt the wilds, the wild nature areas, you're going to want a hub drive. You just need to make sure you get one that has a lot of power and a good battery that's going to last a long time, because that is the negative with hub drives, is the battery doesn't do as good, and it seems like they don't have as much power. This one here is pretty quick. It's fast, and if I hunted on a really flat area, had a gravel road that I drove down, I would just keep this one. But I've been stranded too many times at 5 a.m. changing derailleurs on the side of a mountain. I'm not looking to do that anymore, so I'm going to sell this Quietkat Apex and move on from it. Probably look at getting another one. And by next year, I may end up selling the Crusader and trying to find one that does a little bit of everything. Maybe a 1,000-watt hub motor. The Megatron would be great. It's two 1,000 watts. The problem is it's like $8,000, and I'm not spending $8,000 on one bike. So, make your own decisions. Let me know your thoughts. Have you had issues with mid drives versus hub drives, and have you had problems with derailleurs? Let me know. Appreciate you watching. Subscribe, like. I've got a cool giveaway, a Tacticam giveaway. Make sure you check that out on Instagram and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you haven't checked out Bow Crew yet, use that Triple R Woods 20 to save 20% and support a company that supports bow hunting. So check them out, help them out, support them. Appreciate it. Subscribe, like, stick around.